30 years ago, when I went to military service, I sent 2 girls letters, but put them in the wrong envelope. Okay, so I lost both. I lost both. Sorry. British election. Okay, so first of all, we go through a little bit of the British. We have Great Britain here, and well, you know, I like Africa, okay? And British also were in Africa before, so no problem. Ke Shaojun, you here? No. Lin Xingnan. Okay, can you tell me the difference between England, Great Britain, and United Kingdom? I think we have heard this name before, right? Sometimes we say England. Sometimes we say Great Britain. Other times we say Miss United Kingdom, right? In a, beauty contest. Never heard of Miss England. I think we always Miss United Kingdom. So what's the difference between the three?
England is a region.
England is the region.
And Scotland is the region too.
Okay, Scotland is also the region. And?
And I think Great Britain idea of world.
Wow. It's the empire. Great Britain is the empire.
I think.
You think? Okay. What about Wales?
Wales is a region too.
Okay. And Northern Ireland?
Northern Ireland is the
well, we need a. I'm sorry. I should put a British map. Okay. This is the African map, but
the parts belong to England.
Okay. Now, one thing is very interesting. Great Britain is one country, right? But in World Cup, they send 4 teams. They have England. Hey, in World Cup, it's not called Great Britain. It's called England, right? It's also, there is a team called Scotland, which rarely made it to the World Cup. But they have a Scotland. They also have Wales. They also have Northern Ireland. Now, why don't other European countries protest against this? Saying, how come you can send 4 teams?
Because the strong player will be spread.
Okay, so being diluted. So everybody say, okay, fine, you send 5 teams. They're all going to be defeated, right? So in reality, okay, you have 4 parts in this big United Kingdom. You have England, you have Scotland, you have Wales, and you have Northern Ireland. Okay. When England and Scotland got united back in the 18th century, the beginning of the 18th century, they became Great Britain. Okay, adding later the Wales. Okay. After they unified with Northern Ireland, then they became United Kingdom. Okay, so Great Britain is almost like referring to England, Scotland and Wales, not northern part of Ireland. You know, Northern Ireland is a very strange place. That island has Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland, right? And the Republic of Ireland is what? Yeah, Celtic or Celtic. They pronounce like Celtic. C is pronounced as K. Okay. Yeah, Celtic. Okay, but anyway, Irish people religiously what? Catholics. Okay. Great British people religiously British? No, Anglican. Okay. So you have Anglican and then you have Catholics. So what happened to the Northern Ireland? Northern Ireland, interestingly, they have some Scottish there. You say, well, wait a second. This is Ireland. Why Scottish? Because Great Britain want to conquer the island. So they send Scottish people there. Okay? To colonize Ireland and northern part. So already you have Catholics, then you have Scottish, and the Scottish are also Protestant. Okay, a lot of them are Presbyterian, 是基督教长老会 or other denomination. So what do we have? You have Northern Irish people. They want to unify with southern part of Ireland, the Republic of Ireland. So they have terrorist groups. They wanted to unify with the South, called Sinn Féin. Okay? S-I-N-N-F-E-I-N. Okay, Sinn Féin. And then you also have the Scottish Irish. Scottish people settled in Ireland, Northern Ireland, called Scottish Irish. They are Protestant. So they want to be staying with United Kingdom. So that's the conflict in Northern Ireland. And those people, some of them in the 19th century also moved to the United States, immigrants, because of potato famine. And I know, people in Taiwan like, oh, potato, so what? If potato has problem, no, good, we don't have to eat potato. But that's the main core, main staple food for Irish people. So once they have the famine, people die, they move to the United States. So United States has, we call Scottish Irish and Irish. Different. Scottish Irish are just Scottish, happen to be settling in Ireland, and then move to the United States. It's almost like if we have immigrants from Taiwan to the United States, you have mainlanders coming to Taiwan and then went to the United States. And then you have Taiwanese went to the United States. Maybe different. Okay? So that's the background here. And what else do we have here? Scotland and Wales, they are all very much nationalistic. They have their own, especially Wales, have its own language. Oh, very, very difficult to pronounce. Like their political party is called Plaid Cymru. Cymru. Okay, that's the political party of Wales. Okay, Welsh people, they want people to remember they're Welsh. Every street sign has Welsh, but very few people can read Welsh. Okay. And Scottish, the same thing. Okay, you have Scottish, they want to be different. So Great Britain goes through a process we call devolution. Remember, Great Britain is a centralized country, but they gave power back to the local. So Scotland has its own parliament. So that's devolution, means giving power back to the people in Scotland. Okay, so you understand those six now? Remember, England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland, together United Kingdom. England, Scotland became Great Britain, and later they added Wales. Scottish English is not easy to understand. Welsh English is even more difficult. Irish English. I'm sorry, I cannot understand. Okay, I need a translator.
I don't think that Irish English is a problem, but Scottish English?
Oh, hey, Tony Blair is Scottish, but he was educated in England. Okay, so Tony Blair, have you heard him talk?
Yes.
Oh, very clear, right? Gordon Brown, how about Gordon Brown?
He speaks clearly.
Yeah, that's Scottish. Both are Scottish.
Because I've met some Irish
Uh-huh.
priests.
Uh-huh.
They speak.
But if they're priests, they have to preach to a lot of people. I think they have to, modify their language, right? For example, if I'm a priest in Taiwan, if I say, "Oh, 百分之百,百分之百," how many people can understand me? Huh? You understand 百分之百? 100%. Because some of the mainland Chinese economists always talk about 经济成长5%, 8%, 100%. Okay. So this is the background, right? And then, how many of you remember this one? Zhang Weixiang. Do you know this Magna Carta? It's in our history book in the middle school, 1215. Carta is like charter. Magna is like Mac, big. 大宪章. Okay, Magna Carta. Okay, so like if you graduate with honor, people will say cum laude. And then, like receiving your diploma, some people will receive magna cum laude, like bigger honor. 你们就会去啊. Okay, so Magna Carta 1215. That's the reason Great Britain is a democracy, because already people in the 13th century asked about their rights, and through the parliament. And King John has to give up some power. Okay, so and then Great Britain has a monarch. You all know monarch. We talked about monarchy before, right? Buckingham Palace, do you know that? Yeah, 白金汉宫. Okay, Prime Minister, you know this term? Prime Minister in Germany, what do we call? Chancellor. Remember that lady eating the potato soup? Okay? And also in China, what do we call Prime Minister? Premier. Like in Taiwan, we call Premier. Right? Okay, Downing Street, number 10. What is it? Yeah, it's like, in Taiwan will be where is it in Taiwan? Downing Street, number 10. No, our 现在马英九住叫什么？不是叫玉山了，现在叫什么？现在换了名字，现在换一个很中兴是吧？是不是叫中兴官邸？好像马英九觉得他中兴国民党，是不是？记不得。Okay, but that's the president, right? We're talking about prime minister. Oh, anyone know where our prime minister home is? 我们行政院长的官邸在哪里？ Most of you don't know. I recommend this place. They have some real good food around the area. Okay, it's in Jinhua Street. It's on Jinhua Street. 金华街，台北市。金华街丽水街口。No wonder our former prime minister, like Yu Guohua, is a Zhejiang person. Both Jinhua and Lishui are counties in Zhejiang. 都是浙江省的县份嘛。金华火腿，你们吃过？听过金华火腿。丽水也在浙江省。Okay, so it's on the corner of 金华 and 丽水。那个日本房子 ，Japanese style. That's our Downing Street, number 10. Okay, so you can go there and pay a visit. Downing Street 10. But usually when my wife and I eat right across the street, you will see all kinds of SNG. People just, a reporter always flooded the area if something happened. But that was Su Zhenchang's time. I don't think Liu Zhaoquan staying there. I don't think Wu Dunyi stay there. But you do have a Downing Street, number 10. So that's all you have to say. You don't have to say anything. Just the street number. Okay? Like Tsinghua 大学, you don't have to say anything. Oh, 光复路100号. Oh, 101啊. Okay, so 100 is across the street. Okay. How about 交大? 大学路. Okay. So, anyway, so, National Taiwan University, 罗斯福路4段1号. Right? That's it? Am I right? Who knows? You don't care about NTU anyway. Okay. Westminster. Do you know what is Westminster? 西敏寺. 有听过吗? First time people said, you're talking about persimmon? 以为是想柿子，不是啊。西敏寺 Westminster. Okay. But Westminster model is referring to British democracy. Okay, parliamentary system. That's what we have. House of Lords. Why don't we just say 贵族院? 上议院. Okay. House of Commons, 平民院. 平民. Okay. House of Lords used or still are not elected by people. Okay. You can be elevated. They don't have a lot of things to do. Sometimes they will study. Is there really UFO? What is UFO? Unidentified flying object. Okay. So they study something really strange. Okay. They don't have a lot of things to do. Just honor. It's a little bit like in Taiwan. What do we put this one? Do we have some?
They are studying. They have
No. Yeah, they are studying. They have nothing to do. Do we have any kind of organization?
It's, you're studying, you're doing something.
No, but has UFO has something to do with real things now? With all the problem of the British bank failure?
No.
Maybe. Okay. Maybe it's caused by that. But House of Lords, they are not linked. They have no connection with people. They are lords. They are aristocrats. Okay. House of Commons, this is real one, right? So we have that one. And then they call MP, Member of Parliament. In Taiwan, we call LP, Legislative Member. Okay. MP. And then Cabinet, you understand Cabinet. Cabinet is that 厨房的柜子，不是. What is it? 内阁. Okay, Cabinet, that's 内阁. Okay. And Shadow Cabinet, 影子内阁, which means in a parliamentary system, very important, every cabinet member, every minister is also a member of parliament. Okay, which is different from Taiwan, right? We don't have member of legislative yuan also serving as a cabinet or political appointee. Member of parliament is separate, but in parliamentary system they are together. Members of parliament and government, they serve together. So you have two positions. You have member of the parliament, but you also serve in the government. So if you are out of government, you are the opposition party. Now, which party is the ruling party? In Great Britain right now, Wu Mengyue, which party is the ruling party in Great Britain? Let's say before the election. Okay. Or DPP? No. Conservative Party? I'm sorry, Dan Zuwen. Conservative Party has been out of power for 13 years. Okay? So which party was in power? Yeah, well, thank you. Another one. Okay. It's not a conservative. Okay.
Actually, they have three.
What's the other one in Great Britain? Not that difficult to remember. Representing the working class. 工党. Labor. Okay. They call, if you are a labor member, they call you a labor rights. A labor right. But remember, in Great Britain, how do you spell labor? Labor. That's how they spell labor, right? Labor right. Okay, so the labor was in. So conservative, when they were in opposition, they have a shadow cabinet. It's almost like members of parliament will be assigned job to question, let's say, the home ministry. Okay, what is home ministry? Home Secretary, 家庭秘书，内政部长，内政大臣，home 就是家嘛，内政 ，okay? So you have someone to do that. So every ministry has its shadow government. So you're already, like, if I won the next election, then all this member became the minister. Okay, so that's why we have shadow. And what is backbencher? Okay, first of all, what is a bench? Wang Yikai. Yeah, what is a bench? 椅子嘛. But what is a bench player? Bench player. 替补球员还不错，板凳球员。板凳 I think sometimes they glue there, just stake there. Okay, but sometimes they are cheerleading. 板凳球员只能做加油队嘛，啦啦队。还有呢 ，garbage time, fourth quarter. Okay, your team was behind basketball by 30 points. Okay, why don't you warm up? Get some sweat. 流流汗吧，上去一下。Okay, that's what we call bench player. But backbenchers. Okay, in Great Britain, the parliament is very small. So they are facing each other. Like this classroom, the ruling party is here. Okay, the opposition is here. And then people who are cabinet members, they sit in front. And then those young members of parliament, inexperienced, do not have ministerial responsibility. They sat in the back. So they call backbenchers. 后座的，后板凳的 means they are not very important. But sometimes these are the people who will rebel against their party leader. Okay, backbenchers. So that's Great Britain. Backbenchers. Any questions so far? Okay, so we have parliamentary and presidential, right? So Great Britain is a parliamentary system. America is a presidential system. Parliamentary, we already said, members of parliament also serve as cabinet members, as ministers. In America, you don't do that. You either resign. Like, who was the member of Senate who resigned to become a member of the Obama team? Yeah, Hillary Clinton. She was a senator from New York. Okay? And Obama said, well, maybe you're going to create problem for me in the Senate. Why don't I just plug you out and serve as the Secretary of State? So you cannot have both. That's presidential system. In Taiwan, we have almost like presidential system. Parliamentary system like Germany, like Great Britain, They have the same people. So let me ask you one question. In Taiwan, our legislative yuan will cut budget presented by the premier, right? 行政院长送预算到立法院 and legislative yuan members will say, oh, I don't like this, cut, right? But in a parliamentary system, what are you going to do? You are the one who are heading the ministry. 立法委员 is also 内政部长. So, are you going to cut 内政部的预算吗? I don't think so, right? So, but then there's no fun, don't you think? If you have separation of legislature or legislative branch and executive branch, you have some fun. But if you are part of that, what's the fun? You are both legislative and executive in a parliamentary system. Okay, so remember that. Parliamentary system, then people say it's more efficient in that way because you don't need to debate and already decided. And party leader is very important. In America, who is the leader of the Republican Party? Okay, Democratic Party, we can say, oh, happen to be Obama is in power. So Obama is the leader of the Democratic Party. But who is the leader of the Republican Party? John McCain. But John McCain, I think he's in danger right now, losing, So John McCain just happened to be the last presidential candidate, right? But he lost. Do you think he can lead? No. Maybe the Republican Senate minority leader can be. Maybe the Republican House minority leader. But you don't have a formal Republican leader. They have a national party chairman. 好像有点像台湾的党的秘书长. Nobody care. Nobody even know who he is. Okay? So no leader there. But in a parliamentary system, very clear. Okay? And every leader has to be a member of the parliament because you are supposed to lead a shadow government. Okay? You have to be there. So that's very important. And Taiwan is a semi-presidential system. So in other words, not only do we have president, we also have prime minister. They share power, which look nice, right? But also competing for power. Sometimes we don't know what power do they have. Okay, so let's ask Chen Yijun. Yeah, our president, what is he in charge of? What kind of responsibility does our president have? President Ma Ying-jeou. Does he care about our education? No? Okay, so education is the responsibility of the prime minister, the premier? Minister of Education. But does he report to president or prime minister or premier? Prime minister. Okay. But so what does President Ma do? Presiding over marriage. 证婚. 是不是? Diplomacy? Okay. So remember, national security, diplomacy, foreign relations, and cross-strait relations. That's the president. So strangely, then you have MAC, not McDonald. Okay. Mainland Affair Council. 陆委会. 英文简称是麦当劳. MAC, M-A-C. Mainland Affair Council. Part of the 行政院陆委会. But Mainland Affair Council's responsibility belongs to the president. Strange, huh? And 外交部, right? 两岸外交国防 belong to president. 国防部外交部 part of the 行政院, not part of the president. So I think, this semi-presidential system is crazy, but we have it. Why? We follow the French system. Okay, the French said, everybody like to have a real president, but a cabinet system is nice. So they have president and prime minister. So prime minister is chosen from the majority party of the parliament, of the Congress. So whoever has the majority, you have the prime minister. And president is separately elected. So what happened? If the president belongs to the left and the prime minister belongs to the right, what do we call? We call cohabitation. 同居. So you will find like, cartoon of French president and prime minister sitting on the same bed by having different dreams. 同床异梦. Okay, so that's semi-presidential. If we actually apply the French system to Taiwan, what do we have? Okay, right now, yes. Okay, the majority of the Congress of our legislature belong to which party? KMT? Okay, fine. So Wu Dunyi, that's fine. But during DPP's president, Chen Shui-bian, majority of the seats belong to which party? Okay, first time when he won the election, he entered, the presidential palace and then facing the legislature, still KMT dominated. So he appointed, who was the prime minister? Tang Fei. Okay, I think that could understand. But really, KMT lost credibility a lot. So, yeah. But then a year later, okay, KMT lost very big. So, replacing that with, earlier they replaced it with Zhang Junxiong and then continue to use DPP prime minister. Because DPP, even though it's not majority, not over 50%, but it's the largest party. So I personally agree that it should be a DPP prime minister. But 2004, we have another legislative election, and DPP didn't go above 50%. I think it's a little bit confused for the electorate. At that time, maybe the DPP should appoint a KMT prime minister, but they didn't do it. So confused. Okay, we have all this semi-presidential system. Remember, majority rule. It's supposed to be a majority, but what happened? Like Great Britain, British election this time, no one has the majority. What do you do? Share power? That's good. But in Taiwan, what do we call? 分赃, right? But spoil. Okay, share the spoil. Okay, sharing power, but people will say sharing spoil. Okay, 分赃. But really, what do? You form coalition government. Okay, so you form coalition, 组成联合政府, making sure you have over 50%. Okay, so you are right now in Great Britain they have a hump parliament. Okay, what does that mean? Are they going to hand someone? No. What is hump parliament? Means your parliament no party has majority. So what do we call this in Chinese? 他们的国会这种叫什么国会？叫做僵局。Okay, 就是僵局中文怎么讲？就是僵局啊。Okay. Hump parliament means no one has a majority. So you need to have coalition government. Coalition government means one party invite another party, maybe with similar view. Or at least it's not... Okay, what do we call this? Political right and political left. What do we call this? This political spectrum. Okay. 中文叫什么？光谱，政治光谱。Right? Okay. So, let's say A, B, C, D, E. Okay. Let's say if you have coalition, I think B and C might be okay, C and D might be okay. But can you have coalition of A and E? I think that would be very strange. Okay? It's almost like in Taiwan, 台独联盟跟爱国同心联盟. Okay? Form a government. Okay. Because they are all small, I think. But then you cannot have a majority. So coalition government, and you want to have majority. Because once you have majority, you have what? You have, we call, the confidence. Okay? Where is that? Confidence, okay, vote. So you will have confidence there. But if you don't have the majority, you form a coalition government, you share power, which means what? You have to give another party some positions. Okay? And there is one party in Germany always taking advantage. How small this party? Always less than 10% of the vote. But they are in the middle. So when the left needs it, they form coalition government with the left. When the right needs it, the Christian Democrats needs it, they form government with the Christian Democrat. They form government with the Social Democrats. Okay, this is called Free Democrats. Okay, Liberal Party, 自由党 in Germany. But last time, from 2005 to 2009, this party was left out. The Christian Democrat and the Social Democrat decide to form a big government. It's almost like Taiwan's DPP and KMT form a government. Okay? So that's possible, but I have a new word here called minimum winning coalition. Means if the DPP and if the Labor and Conservative form a government, they have so many things different. But also because both are very big party, so you have to share power almost equally, or Conservative get more, but you have to give a lot to the Labor Party. So you don't want to do that. You only want, why do you only need 50 plus 1 votes? You understand? So why do you need 80% of vote or 75% of vote? Why wasting all those 20%? You said, well, I reached to a greater audience. It's more consensus. I'm sorry, in politics, 50 plus 1. Okay, that's enough. So what they do is, Great Britain today, we have 650 seats. So can you do the math? How many do you need for majority? 25 might not. Okay, 26. Okay. So right now, the Conservative Party, after this election, is the largest party. They have 306. Okay? And people say, well, you have one party that is very close to you. We call it the Democratic Unionist, which represents the Northern Ireland. How many seats do they have? 8. Still, you don't have 50%. So why are you forming coalition with someone you don't have 50%? So the only one they can add that will form, these are also, there are a lot of small parties. So the only one they can form will be, I think, 57 or 57. The Liberal Democrat, 自民党. Okay, so that will be sufficient. So they are talking right now. Okay, but usually it's the minimum winning coalition means the second and the third biggest party can form a coalition that is bigger than the first party. So that will be sufficient. But let's look at the Liberals. If 57 plus, the Labor has what? 258? 11 seats short. Huh? So they said, why don't we add the Scottish, some of the Welsh party? I think Scottish have 6 or something. So altogether they have put, plus together they can put 4 more parties together. They have 326. But that would be very difficult to maintain because one little party will say, hey, I'm the only one here, but if you don't have me, you don't have majority. Right? So that would be difficult. So that's the reason. Minimum coalition, minimum winning means I don't need a lot. I just need to have majority. So it's more likely that you will have the second or the third party forming government instead of the first one. Okay? But making sure Also, this one will have to happen. So today, if we say conservative is here, liberal Democrat is here, labor is here. So I think conservative and liberal Democrat can form, and labor and liberal can form government. Okay? So it's not that bad. Majority party, harm parliament, and then we go back to why Great Britain. How many percent of the votes did the Liberal Democrats got? How much did they get? They got about 22% of the votes. The Labour got about 28%, 27%. So 5% differences. But look at the seat. 5% difference. That's the reason you're 1/5 of the seat. So why? Because they are using single-member district in Great Britain. What is single-member district? It's like in Taiwan, we elect our legislative yuan member, or electing county magistrate or mayor. Means you just choose one winner. If you came in second, sorry, nothing to show for. You say, I did very well. I got 48% of the vote. Hey, the other guy got 51%. So he got elected. You have nothing. Okay, that's what we call single-member district. And multi-member district, like we still have that in Taipei, going to elect some of the, we call city councilmen, 市议员, multi-member. Like I used to belong to Wenshan, Da'an Wenshan. And I think I'm going to move into Zhongzhen Wanhua. Okay, so either one, there are a list of candidates, right? So you can choose. Even if you came in second, fine, you're going to get elected. Okay, so it's competing not just one, but also some system they have we call proportional representation. Proportional representation means how many percentage of how many votes do you get in percentage, then how many seats you will receive. That's what we call PP, proportional representation. PR, I'm sorry. And then Great Britain also didn't have what other countries have, 2 rounds, absolute majority. For example, you have 3 candidates, right, competing, very close. No one has 50%. In France, they have to go to the second round. So if you do not support the candidate from the right side, and you lost, your party lost, let's say you're the Liberal, your party lost to the Labour, you will support the Labour in the second round. So even though the first round, the Conservative might be ahead, but if you have a second round, the Labour will become on top. So that's the 2-round absolute majority. But Great Britain didn't have those. Great Britain just have one running. That's why we call first past the post. Okay, what do we mean by first past the post? It's like horse racing. 有没有看过？或者赛跑也好吧。赛马有看过吗？那个过了一个杆，谁先过就赢了。Okay, you further behind, only one winner. So it doesn't have to be 50%. Whoever has the most vote will win the election. So that's Great Britain. So some people say that's not fair. Because what happened, like liberals, they have 22% of the support. They only have 8% of the seats, or 9%. That's low, so not proportional. 比例不成比例吧. But then people say, this is how you create a 2-party system. Because if you vote for a small party, you know your vote will be wasted. So it's almost like if you hate the other party more, you will vote for the lesser of the 2 evils. 懂吗? If I am a liberal, right, I want to vote for Liberal Party, but I said, so what? My party will get 25% of the vote. My candidate is not going to win. But I hate the Conservative even more, so I voted for Labour. If I have a choice, I vote for Liberal. but because I don't have a choice now, because my vote will be wasted. Okay, some people care very much that their vote they don't want their vote to be wasted. Your professor don't care. My vote always wasted, right? I voted for the person who is least electable. 最不可能当选. I voted for him. So I don't care. But other people felt, they don't want to waste their vote. And that's the reason they want to have proportional representation so their vote can be counted. Okay, so these are the party, conservative, sometimes we call the Tories, and then Labours, or we call them the Whigs, and then the Liberal Democrats, and the Scottish Nationalists, and Welsh Nationalists, also known as Plaid Cymru, and the Democratic Unionists, that's from Northern Ireland. So these are the major parties in Great Britain. One thing about election, in parliamentary election, is yes, there is a fixed term, but there is no term limit. Okay, what do you mean by fixed term? In Great Britain, a member of parliament served 5 years, but you don't have to wait until the 5th year to have an election. People say, hey, after 2 years, my party looked good, the picture looked rosy. Why don't we just call another election? So a new election, if we won, then we have 5 more years instead of 3 years left. Okay. So you want to wait until the best time to have an election. Some people say, yeah, my administration looks so bad. Why don't I just serve until the last day, 5 years? So you're going to lose the election. Okay. In France, that happened. In Great Britain also happened. Some people will say, well, I'm not going to win the election. Why should I call an early election? Which means I'm going to leave office early. So I know I'm not popular. Sorry, you stuck with me. But sometimes those leaders, they will feel rebellion from their own ranks. The backbenchers say, we're going to have defeat. Maybe we get rid of you, we can have a better chance. Okay, so you never know. This might happen. So fixed term, 5 years. But sometimes we call an early election or snap election. You decide, hey, why don't we have it now? Okay. Great Britain, this is the last year because they had the election in 2005. Before they have what? 2001. And then before 2001, they have 1997. So you said 5 years, the first time, 4 years, they had an election. Second time, 4 years, they have an election. This time, Labour knew that they're going to lose, so they just finished the 5 years. Okay? And some people said, Gordon Brown, he became prime minister in 2007 after Tony Blair stepped down. He should call an election right away. Maybe he had a chance because there is a called Brown bounce. Like, a new prime minister. Maybe there will be some fresh, idea, so people might support. But he thought, he said, well, maybe I could not win a lot, but I'm a good prime minister. I'm going to make people love me, so I'm going to win big for the Labour. After 2 years with financial crisis, pretty bad. Japanese prime minister, do you remember all those 1 year prime minister from Japan? Everybody said, well, you knew, why don't you have an election right away? No, I'm going to make the country better. So we had the election, and the country become worse and worse. So they only serve 1 year. Right? Do you remember that aso taro? Aso 芋头, 记得吗? Who is aso 芋头? Aso 貔貅, right? Taro. Who is aso taro? 麻生太郎. This is Chinese, aso. Taro is English. 番薯啊，是吧？芋头。Okay. Now, only 1 year, right? And earlier, also you have, another prime minister, Fukuda, 福田首相 1 year. So a lot of 1 year prime minister because they wanted to wait. Okay, so they have fixed term, but you can have early election, or we call snap election. Sometimes they are forced to have early election. Why? They lost the confidence. They have no confidence vote, which means they don't command the majority anymore. Okay, so that's the one. Okay, let's take a break here. Okay. Liao Hangwei. Okay, can you see this one? I'm sorry, I mailed to the other class. Okay, so if you cannot see, we have the special seat here, the second row here. Second row here is empty, specially designed for all of you. Can you come? You can see? Wow. Is it true? You can see? Yeah, but why don't you just come here? Okay? Yeah.
The nation's
Political.
political leaders have been left trying to figure out their next move following the failure of any party to achieve a majority share of the vote in the UK general election.
Continue.
This is not the first time a UK general election has produced a hung parliament.
Okay, so again, what is a hum parliament? 悬而不决. Okay, but we have a name called 僵局国会, right? Okay, so that's a hum parliament, which means what? No party achieve a majority. Seats. Okay, we're not talking about percentage of votes. Percentage of votes, very few times, like in the past 20-some years, you have a party, nobody has achieved 50% of the vote. Usually you can win about 40% of the vote, you're going to win. Okay? Sometimes, like this time, conservative, about 35% of the vote. That's it. But disproportionately, they're going to get seats. Okay, left, trying to figure out the next move because they don't know what to do. Okay, thank you. Next one. Sorry, you have to do all this walking, exercising. Wang Jianyuan. Yeah, can you see? I think you come from... We have a reading seat this time. Wow, you have to even move forward. Wow. You need to have new glasses. Okay, fine.
As the political parties weigh on their option, it is worth remembering that all the
Presidents
1910, 1923, 1939, and 1974 pointed towards
minority
government and not a
coalition. Okay, continue.
In March 1974, Edward
Heath.
and the
Conservatives.
won the popular vote, but ended up with fewer MPs than
Labor. And continue one more line.
Edward Heath tried and failed to do a deal with the Liberal Party led by
Jeremy Thor. Okay, have a seat. So here, we weigh political options. Remembering all the precedent, P-R-E-C-E-D-N-T. It's not president, but president. What's the difference? What's president? P-R-E-C-E-D-E-N-T. Not P-R-E-S-I-D-E-N-T. Something that can tell you what to do later. In legal term, we call legal president, 司法惯例. Okay, so for example, what would be something in Taiwan that would be considered a president? For example, long time ago, during my years as a teenager. If you rob with arms, sorry, death penalty. Okay, only death penalty, capital punishment. 叫什么？唯一死刑就抢劫啊，就是劫或抢劫 right? So that's a precedent before, but not anymore. So they have cases before. You can look. So 1910, they have one, 23, 29, and 74. But they said, in all the cases, nobody formed a coalition. So what do you have? You have a minority government. You have to have a majority of government, but if nobody wants to form a government, so the biggest party will run, but will depend. If they cannot, if someone decides to have a no confidence vote, the government collapses. We have one case in France. Okay, in 1988, French has a semi-presidential system. So they elect this guy, very old at that time, called Mitterrand. Okay, Francois Mitterrand. Mitterrand was elected as president. He said, well, you like me, right? But the parliament is the right wing having the majority. Why don't I dissolve the parliament so that you can have a new election? You voted me for president. Why don't you give me majority in the parliament? So they vote. He dissolved the parliament, and then they have an election. Sorry, nobody has majority. Okay? The Socialist Party is the biggest party, but no majority. So the right wing has more votes than Socialist Party. But the right wing also have this extreme right wing called National Front, like a Nazi type party. So do you want to form a coalition government with the Nazi? No, you don't. So they refuse. That's the reason France had a minority government. Okay, even though Socialist is the biggest party. Okay, it's almost like our DPP government from 2001 to 2004. Okay, so that's the same thing. So people do not form a coalition. They rather say, I don't want to be, remembered as a party of what? Sharing spoil, 分赃, rather than, minority. Okay, so that's the cases. So in 1974, for example, in March, Edward Heath and the Conservative won the popular vote, but they have fewer MP than Labour, so they are supposed to talk to the Liberal, but they fail. So what happened? They don't have the majority. The Labour Party become the party of power, so the party minority rule, okay, from 74. And then the Labour Party, after 8 months, they said, we are minority, but I think you like us. Why don't you give us majority? So they dissolved the parliament, another election, so they barely got a majority the next time. And then in 79, they lost the election. So this is one way of doing it. You want to dissolve the parliament to have the majority, but you don't get it every time you want. Zhang Shuzhen. Yeah, can you see? I don't think so. If you can see, you must not belong to Tsinghua. Tsinghua student, if you have very good eyesight, means you don't study enough. Huh? Okay, coalitions. Archive. Archive.
Archive documents reveal that the then Prime Minister was willing to consult
Jeremy.
work on the content of the government's legislative program, the Green Speech. The Liberals could either support conservative measures without formal participation in government, or join a
Coalition.
with sit in the cabinet for Jeremy Thorpe and one or two of his colleagues.
Okay, final one.
The Liberals reject the deal and Labour went on to form the minority government.
Okay, so this is here archive. Do you understand archive? In China, we have an archive department. I don't think we have archive department in Taiwan. Archival management. 党管系，我以为是政党什么，不是档案管理。Okay, archival management. So archive means old documents, right? 文献argument. Reveal the Prime Minister Heath at the time was willing to consult the Liberal leader on the legislative program. Means we're going to talk to you. This is what we're going to do. The Queen's Speech. That's what they said. Called the Queen's Speech means almost like in America we will call the State of the Union address. Means you talk about this in your government. And if you think you can support that, then you join us. If you don't think you can do that, then fine. So the Liberal could either support the Conservative as what? Formal, without formal participation. Like, yeah, why should I support you if I don't get anything in return? Oh, thank you for your spirit. 谢谢你精神常常与我们同在。Right? Why should I support if I don't have anything in return? Or you join a coalition. What did the Liberal want at the time? They said, change the electoral system. Change to proportional representation so we can have more seats. Conservatives said, but this system favors us. Why should we change something that favors us? So they didn't. So they didn't form the government, even though the Liberal leader, Thorpe, can get one seat. Okay, remember that German Free Democrats, I mentioned they always move with the right or form government with the left. That Free Democrat leader, he served as the foreign minister for both the right-wing coalition and the left-wing coalition. I mean, everybody moved. He just stayed there. No, he's always the foreign minister, okay, like more than 12 years. So that's the coalition. But Great Britain, British is different from Europeans. British are more conservative. I think they feel that forming a coalition is like cheating on your spouse. 是不是有点像在外遇不好劈腿 okay something so they didn't okay so now okay the Liberal rejected so the Labour went on okay what's the similarity here this time is Labour and Liberal can try to form a coalition but if they cannot then the Conservative the biggest party will have a minority government okay thank you next one Guo Denfeng. Yeah, can you see? I think you have to come. I'm sorry.
Similar choice now face David Cameron and Nick Clegg. Liberal Democrats could enter into what is known as the confidence and supply agreement.
Okay, confidence and supply agreement. Okay, I'm sorry. How do I go down? Okay. Continue.
This means they will support a minority conservative government if there was a motion of confidence and make sure it's got the money if needed to carry out its policies. This sort of arrangement has happened in New Zealand.
Okay, continue. In return,
the
Liberal Democrats, Lib Dems, okay, Liberal Democrats. Okay, so what does that mean? It means, hey, you're going to announce your policy. If I can have a say in that policy, for example, what do we care most in Taiwan? Let's say if I am pro-environmental, I would say I want to stop the nuclear power. Okay, if you put that in the speech, we will support you. Okay, so that's how you don't form a government, but you support one program. And then you can have it. So minority government, but there was a motion of confidence. People want to try to do it, and make sure you got the, and make sure you got the money it needed carried out in the policy. So this is how you can support. and New Zealand has it, right? But the condition is Liberal Democrats say, I have to have a say in your policy making. Okay, that's one way of doing it. Look at this one, saying known as confidence in supply agreement means make sure I will not be voted out. You support me if there's a vote of confidence. 信任投票 means I got you, I got the majority. So you will not allow our government to fail. Okay? But at the same time, supply the agreement means there is a part of the speech that will be agreed upon, or policy agreed by the liberals. Okay, next one, 严子晴. There could be.
There could be a much looser arrangement with the Liberal Democrats agreeing to work with the Conservatives on a measure-by-measure basis. Or we could about to see a much rarer thing, a peacetime coalition government with Nick Clegg and other senior Liberal Democrats becoming ministers.
Okay, so here you can also have saying, okay, why don't we have a coalition or arrangement that one issue by one issue. Okay, if one issue we cannot agree, then fail. So let's say in Taiwan, we know that the DPP and the KMT can form a government if they don't have to talk about unification or independence or ECFA, right? If they're dealing with other issue, will be fine. So you don't put those issues to vote in a legislature, then you can survive. Measure by measure, one issue after another issue. Or we can see a much rarer thing. What does that mean? A peacetime coalition government. What does that refer? Peacetime coalition. Because they did have a coalition government during World War II. Churchill, do you remember that name? Churchill. Churchill. Conservative and Labour say, oh, we are in a war, so why don't we have a big coalition government? Look like we are unified. Okay? So that's wartime, you can have a coalition. But peacetime, but Great Britain might say, this is wartime. We have financial crisis. So that's why you can do it, okay? And Clegg and Liberal Democrats become minister, sharing power. That's possible, okay, but we don't know what's going to happen. Next one, 周明翰、香乃馨。我知道，所以我换了香乃馨了嘛。OK， 如何？你要来吗？坐前面啊。张宇轩看得到吗？哇哦 ，Number game。Options. Cameron. Parliamentary. Majority. Okay, so remember, what's the number? Clear majority. Where is that number? Do you remember that number? 306 plus 57. What's that number? 306. That's 363. 326. I think that's good enough. Cushion 啊，这个 cushion 中文叫什么？垫子，不是 cushion 就是有缓冲的空间很大啊。OK. So Ms. Zhang, continue. Liberal Democrats. Conservatives. Labor. Okay, so if the liberals say, oh, we don't like the conservative, Gordon Brown said, hey, why don't you try us? Even though we are not your first choice. sometimes it's hard, right? Like you have to wait the Liberal Democrat to choose first the conservative. And then you have to swallow this thing. They prefer the conservative first. They talk to the conservative first. But hey, if things doesn't work out, we're still here. 像不像谈恋爱？像哦。Okay, I don't know whether you have that experience or not, but but a lot of people say, well, if you don't talk to me, fine, I'm not going to be waiting here. Okay, but Gordon Brown, he is the oldest of the three. Do we have the picture of them? He also looked old, so I don't think he has choice. Okay, the other two look young and charismatic. Okay, next, Lin Luofan, the option. Formal agreement. Liberal Democrats. Do you want to sit there? I mean, that's a little bit too. Okay, here, and very important. Read the next one. Okay, here. Why? Do you remember we talked about this? Gordon Brown, Labour Party with Liberal, they don't have enough votes for a majority. Show me the number. Okay, 258 plus 57, 315. You are 11 seats short, right? So you don't have a majority. Okay, so that's the one. Okay, continue. Okay, I don't know what happened to this one. Okay, we should have more. If the politician can agree, then the mo了。I don't know what happened. 冇咗啦，冇咗啦。聽到我嗎？冇 ，what is 冇咗？沒有了廣東話冇了So, but anyway, this is he still have to get agreement from other political party. Miss Lin, which parties? He doesn't have. Labor is not enough. So, what's the other party we are talking about? The Scottish Nationals, the Welsh Nationals, and another Democratic Party, small party, and maybe the Green Party. Green Party has 1 seat, okay? But because you don't have enough, so you need to add all this to make it to 326. Okay, so other political parties, more. Okay. So this is one. Okay, I think we want to look at these are the two, okay, leaders. Nick Clegg of the Liberal Democrats and Cameron of the Conservative. I think they're younger than Gordon Brown. Okay, Gordon Brown is saying, but I got the experience. But experience of being a failed prime minister. Not very good. Okay. So Dan Zuwen, can we try this nice-looking guys? Who runs Great Britain? Okay.
According of the Liberal Democrat so we don't wait to learn who we govern them.
Okay, what do you mean by courting?
Like the Like just to call someone is just like try to
win someone over. Okay, so, the liberal Democrats right now is like sitting there very pretty, right? Conservatives say, oh, I'll marry you. What do you have to offer? Oh, I'll give you a big mansion. That's it? 豪宅? But, I want something more. So people keep offering. And then this side, the labor said, if you don't like what he is offering, I can also offer you something. Right? So courting, 追求. Everybody's 追求 this. But he looked good, I think. Okay, continue. Okay, Britain.
Britain may never have seen anything quite like it. Last night,
Inconclusive.
General election.
Oh, let me blow it up for you. Control. Plus. I know, but I could not find the mouse. Where is it? This mouse is very deceptive. Okay. Inconclusive.
Last night, inconclusive general election was remarkable enough, producing as it did the first home parliament since 1974. But it was matched for drama by the ensuing spectacle of the three main party leaders setting out the preferred path towards some kind of strong and stable government, and doing so in public.
Okay, so what do you mean by inconclusive?
They didn't come up with a result.
Okay, this word right now is most popular in what? In sports replay. Okay, like someone said, oh, so and so, let's say goaltending. Goaltending, do you know goaltending? Making basketball, people say the basketball is on the way to draw, and then you block the ball. Okay, so they show slow motion, right? Replay, and then people say, still inconclusive. Not enough. Sometimes you just cannot tell. So inconclusive. General election. So British, if you don't like Labour, why don't you just put Conservative on top, winning? But they didn't know. Okay, so that's how, and was remarkable, but more so than what? Match for drama by spectacle. What do you mean by spectacle?
Spectacle, it's like a kind of performance.
Performance like a show. Okay, a show of what? Three main political party talking about preferred paths. They say, oh, we can do this, we can do that. So finally, the British are not very boring. Okay, I told you before, in 2001, when I was in Great Britain, in the general election, I was hit by the car, accident, and remember there was no campaign activities at all. Like nobody even know Great Britain had an election. Not like Taiwan, we have all the posters. We have, all kinds of, banners, right? 竞选的那个文宣，还有这个叫什么？旗子。Oh, I love all those flags. 造势晚会 or rally, political rally. They don't. Okay, so Great Britain was a very boring place before. Now, finally, they, a lot of, spectacle here. So they're talking about, they said, we want strong and stable government. Remember, British are very conservative. They prefer stability. They are not like Italians. Italians have coalition government all the time. They change prime minister, government collapse, new government forming. But Italian is fine. Okay, British will say, "Oh, that's a disaster." So, and what they did in public, okay, Guo Junyi, yeah, can you see? First, up. At the poll. He reiterated
Reiterated his rule of thumb that the party boasting the most votes in the country and seats.
Okay, continue. Sorry. Must
Parliament must be given the first shot at forming a government that he acknowledged means the Conservatives. It was a coded
invitation.
to the Tories to bid for the support of his 57 MPs in running the country.
Okay, so here, this is Great Britain. So remember, first up, the Liberal Democratic leader, that good-looking guy on the right-hand side, dejected. What do you mean by dejected? Down. Okay, means basically down. Why? Because people say, oh, you look so good in the debate. You know, people say, oh, you might win more votes than the Labours, but ended up with 5% lower than the Labour. But more importantly, look at the seats, 57. And I have a list here. Where is my list? I have a list here of all. Yeah. Okay, this is what I printed out. You know, the three party, mostly, conservative win here, liberal wins here, Labour wins here. Look at the Liberal. Only a few seats, right? With the yellow highlight. But what do they have? Out of the 650 seats, they came in second in half of the seats. So it means in a lot of conservative who won the seat, they did better than the Labour. And when the Labour won, they did better than the Conservative. But sorry, you're second. You don't get anything. So that's why, the Liberal Party surprising poor showing in the poll. Okay, at the poll. So sometimes we will say British at the poll means election. Taiwanese at the poll. Okay, just studying Taiwan's election. Okay, that's what we call. And then he reiterated his rule of thumb. What is the rule of thumb? His principle, his argument. He already decided. What is it? The party who has the most vote and most seat will have the first shot at forming the government. Again, this is not constitutional required. And by the way, Great Britain doesn't have a constitution. Okay, a written constitution. Great Britain doesn't have one. So this is what he said. Boasting the most votes and seats in Parliament must be given the first shot. So in other words, it was a coded invitation. So Mr. Guo, what do you mean by coded invitation? What would be a coded invitation? Email, via email. Okay. Something, I don't know, what is it? Okay. But anyway, what is it? People will say, oh, this is a coded information because it says, I love you. Something, right? So, do you do that? Do you play that game with your, friends or? Don't do this is bad. I just made up there. Okay, but do you understand coded information? Do you do that? Spy do that, right? So you have to people give you a number. You say, wow, I have to look at Well, this is according to 三国演义, right? So I have to go to 三国演义, like, 57, let's check, 第57回, okay, 33, 第37个字, 33个, so that's a code, okay? The spy do that. They have a book sometimes, either 三国演义 or mostly Bible, because everywhere you can find a Bible. And you count all the votes and you get it. Oh, this is the bad. Okay, don't go get this one. But that's what we call coded. What do we mean by coded invitation? Means when I said the first one, the biggest party, the one who won the most votes and seats, should have the best shot, or should have the first shot forming the government, means I'm sitting here. Come, talk to me. Okay, that's the code. Okay, that's the code. Coded invitation. That we can run the government together. Ong Yingzi, next one. You know, she is the only one in my other class as well, so she has the reading. God. Okay. No, it's okay. Okay, you're just lucky you're the only one. Okay. David Cameron, the Tory leader, the other guy there on the picture, could respond. Okay, before he could respond, Gordon Brown appears at, I'm still here, and saying, yes, conceding means I agree that you can talk to Cameron first. But, I'll be waiting, with my offer here as well. All right? If the conversation fizzle out, what do we mean by fizzle out? Just died. Okay, the conversation didn't work out. Okay, so a referendum. What do we Miss Ong? What is a referendum? 公投. Okay, on a new voting system. They said we only won 57 seats, even 5% less, 5 seats less than last time, because of the system. It's not fair. So, third parties in memorial cause. What do you mean by in memorial? Not memorial. What does that mean? In memorial. Not to be remembered. Memorial is to remember, in memorial. It's almost like forever, the cause. Okay? It's they wanted this one to be on the table. So, for example, right now, what do you think about ours, Ms. Ong? What is our electoral system? Do you know? In terms of election to the legislative yuan in Taiwan, single-member district, right? But in addition to that, we also have what? We also have some proportional representation. We call the non-constituency. Okay, 叫什么？中文叫什么？不分区啊 ，non-constituency. Constituent. Okay. Seats. Okay. 不分区的席次. So, how do you get 不分区? Remember, DPP was so bad last time in single-member district. They only won 13. Okay, district seats. But because they won a lot of votes, so they get 14 votes, 14 seats out of the proportional representation. So together they got 27. Well, this was bad. But at least they got the seat. So all the small party didn't get seat. Why? You say it's according to the percentage, right? But they say, oh, wait a second, you need something called threshold. 有没有读过淝水之战？过什么？ Oh, have you visited China? If you visit China, you hate this 门槛。每一个房子进去都要跨，很累啊，又不只是高，而且还宽。啊 ，But it's a good seat, you know. People sitting, 很好，坐门槛坐在很舒服，这么宽。那过老人家都过不去啊。OK， 啊，不能踩吧？好吗？门槛可以踩吗？对不起，不能踩，踩了会怎么样？不会啊，门槛好像是一个实木啊，很不会垮的。Okay, but I don't know why. Okay, but threshold means 门槛. So what is the 门槛, Ms. Ong, for our small party? You have to have 5% of votes in order to be qualified for percentage, proportional representation. So what do you think our third world parties, not third world, our third party in memorial cause in Taiwan? Like we have Green Party, we have New Party, we have Taiwan Solidarity Union, 有台联有新党，亲民党也差不多了OK， 亲民党，然后还有什么？还有绿党，还有工党，我们有劳工党，还有工党，我们都有啊。In fact, in Taiwan, how many political parties do we have? More than 100. We even have a political party called Chinese Bitona Elite. 中国兵鹰党，槟榔精英，中国兵鹰党，你去看一下，有电话有地址的 ，OK， 就台北市电话部，你找一个出来，政党。你去看有 ，OK。So we have a lot of parties, but no part. We have one party called 中国民众党. Last time, when we still have a National Assembly election, they actually got 5 seats. Why? Because a lot of people got confused. They thought they had KMT, 中国民众党, right? And so this guy never won anything. Suddenly became a National Assembly member. So he was the first one to report. Like, stay there overnight. I'll be the first one to report. And people said, oh, you're just lucky, because people got confused. He said, maybe a lot of votes for us went to the KMT. So we need 5% threshold. Okay. In Israel, 1%. Okay. Proportional representation. So Israel has a lot of small party. But that's also good because they are represented. Their votes are not wasted. So that's, the third party, like liberal, they want this one forever. That's their cause. Wang Boxuan. Yeah, can you see? I think you have to come to the reading seat today. Appearance. Shaking up. Tory administration. C word. Uh-huh. Ooh, what happened? Okay, so Cameron made his appearance after, said, didn't offer anything, but he said, oh, okay, we will look at a cross-party committee. Look into that matter. Do not believe that. Once they're in power, they never talk about it. Okay, so you have to have what do we call? In ink, sign. This is what they're going to do. Otherwise, once they're in power, why do you need electoral reform? But then he defined broadly saying, oh, we need to shake up something in the House of Lords. This is like appointed forever. So people said House of Lords should also be elected. Okay, maybe he will consider that, but we don't know. Okay, and then giving voters the power to evict, means kick out their MP, because Great Britain also has a lot of MP in most recent times having some problem with their finance, corruption. Okay, like, a lot, just like Taiwan 特资费 or something, they misappropriate a lot of money. So what happened? A lot of people are so, the word is, I think, tainted, 污名化. So this time, more than 150 didn't run for re-election. We have the biggest, we call, freshman class in history. Okay, so a lot of people cannot do it. So that's why he was talking about this, and then floating the idea of cooperating with liberal. As a minority, you have some issues like school reform. But the actual C word, what does that C word mean? C? Coalition. Okay, because coalition, you're part of the government. So we will cooperate, not coalition. Cooperation. Okay? So cooperation and coalition are different. And then, blue-yellow coalition. In Taiwan, what do we have? We have, right now, is blue and orange coalition. That's not very natural color. Blue, huh? Pen blue. But orange is pen blue. I think blue and green should be fine. They are close. 蓝绿比较合嘛？为什么我们要对抗？蓝和红 in United States, they don't go together. In Germany right now, they have the blue. They have the black and yellow. 你们觉得这个好看吗？黑黄。I'm sorry, that's my university's color. Purdue University has that color, which is not good because what do they call? At Purdue University, we always say, let's go black and gold. Black gold. 黑金政治. Right? Black and gold. Like Professor Huang's university, my rival university, Indiana, the big red color. So we are more like working class, black, right? But black and gold, 金黄跟黑，结果到了台湾，刚好每次我们要介绍说我们的学校是黑金，黑金政治。Okay, but that's how they do. In France, every country they have a color for the party, so they call the coalition according to the color. 所以德国现在是叫做黑黄，不是黑金，黑黄。OK, 那英国有可能是蓝黄结盟。Okay, we will finish.